Today's part of our focus is to increase the number of shows, and the goal is to do so with conversations that are going on that might make sense for you to be a part of. So I got a call from a good friend of mine and trading buddy. We'll call him Roger. Roger's in Detroit, and Roger has a plan to go from 100,000 or so this year to about $1 million in the next 8 months. So the reason I was decided to put a show on today is that I know I owe a semi truck that I'm working on, but I wanted to do a brief show about will you get rich with the FSD announcement that's coming on August 8th from Elon. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, would like better ideas on investing and trading, please join us on Patreon. So I wanted to jump into this because sometimes there'll be topics that come up and they keep rolling along and then they're not dealt with, and new things come up that sort of push it further and further backwards. So as you know, it was announced that August 8th there would be a huge announcement coming up on FSD from Elon. And the statement that's being made by many is what's going to happen is that that FSD is like no steering wheel. This vehicle can move around on its own. All the great things that we've heard and expected to occur is what is on the table right now. So we'll see if this actually is going to happen or not. But I wanted to relate to you the conversation we went back and forth on. So what happened is that the first comment I made to my friend about what's going on is, a trend going on for Tesla stock over the last year. As you know, we've had this process where Elon wants to gain market share, and the way he does that is by lowering prices. He picks up incrementally extra sales, but there are all these negative side effects to it. For example, Hertz is getting rid of all of their Teslas because as those prices drop, Hertz can't find any margin on those vehicles to sell them at after they come out of service as rental cars, which is a key part of their revenue model. So we're in a situation now where, as I said in my previous video, I think Elon will make a decision to start doing sort of value-added things. For example, having a more exclusive environment for higher paying customers, and might come with a higher annual fee to go to that facility, faster turnaround in terms of how quickly you get service. There's a number of things that are out there that are easy revenue generators. Even producing, 5 or 10 semi trucks a week, would add a nice little, call it $250,000 times 10 every week to the revenue rolls of Tesla. So we have a lot of ways in which Tesla can make money. So what I explained to my friend was that I actually sort of did virtual meetings with several PhD caliber engineers at Stanford. And what they shared both in the computer science department and on a friendly basis is that in general, FSD kind of works and it's a pretty good idea. The problem they have is something called human beings. So there's a way in which there's a lot of unpredictability of what human beings are going to do. And obviously you can train a computer to deal with that, but it takes a long time to really do so. As you may recall, the reason why Chevy's Cruz division was shut down was there was a pedestrian that was hit by a car and was laying in the street, and instead of stopping, the Cruz vehicle that came along ended up dragging her a certain distance after it hit her and created or caused more damage. So this thing happened maybe 3 months ago, but the computer science discussion at Stanford about this came out about a year and a half ago. So it's one of several reasons why things have gotten shut down, or they're allowing it in certain areas, not others, etc. So I was intrigued by the call from my friend because he was very excited. And for the last, let's say, 4 years, he's called me very excited every year around the same time with the same news that this was the big one. He additionally added this year that it was said that the Fords and GMs of the world are so excited by how good this product is that they currently are now looking at licensing that technology to put in their own vehicles. So that sort of is general what's happening. There's excitement, FSD is coming. You can basically have your car out there as a robot that's making you money and then come back and you just go out and get in your car and go along wherever you're going. It's sort of the dream of FSD. Well, first, I'd have to say that will this ever happen? Absolutely. Is it going to happen immediately? I don't think so, for a number of reasons. The technology guys are doing a good job of continuing to improve, so I think we're going to eventually be okay. We may be okay now with Tesla's efforts here, but I still think we're a year or two away from the pesky issue of a dog, a human being, all those objects that pop up, and then things like Elon has a thing where, as you may recall, he got rid of sonar and radar and only uses cameras. So the question that pops up is, what if it's a snowy day and the cameras get covered in ice or snow and can't read stuff? I mean, that's another question that lurks out there in terms of how it'll be dealt with. So, a little sidebar note: have you seen this piece where they're starting to have get in a certain lane, your car charges as you go in it in Detroit? I just think that's really good news to see something like that occur. So, so his goal obviously is to make money on the stock. I want everybody to make money on the stock, and this announcement hopefully will do exactly that. The big problem I see with the announcement coming up is something called regulators. So Elon has really been pushing the boundary of regulation for quite a while. And so I'm confident he'll do so again with this session, but I'm also confident that if you don't have regulator buy-in, your path to profitability and therefore adding huge value gain to the stock, I think is very limited. So the bigger announcement I'm looking forward to is not that FSD works, it's the fact that the regulators have given buy-in to what you're doing and therefore will allow those vehicles to be on the street doing as Elon's assessed. There's also one other question that's kind of lurking in my brain on this whole thing, and that is Tesla has vehicles that are moving around in Las Vegas underground between the hotels and convention center. So another thing that I haven't seen that I think would be really cool to illustrate the potential of this is, hey, Elon, what about running constant, vehicle activity inside the Las Vegas Convention Center with full SD in action? That would actually, I think, be big news, and I think it would make a big difference in a lot of different ways. So I therefore had to tell him that I thought that it's possible that we get a bump on Tesla stock price based on FSD. The challenge is, prior to this announcement occurring, I don't think the stock's going to run a lot because there have been a lot of folks who've gotten burnt anticipatorily trying to get into the stock because of new technology announcement, particularly when it comes to FSD for Tesla. The final challenge I see with this whole thing is Elon/Tesla has become a very big company. So one of the challenges out there is that unless you add a lot of revenue with what you're bringing in, then it will help revenue, it'll help earnings, but it doesn't move the needle enough to give you a really big bump in the stock price. So I do believe that's what we're facing here. Elon is continuing to chase the dream of having full FSD, full self-driving. Again, I think it will get there. I think the improvements will increase the number of people who are adding FSD to their vehicles as they purchase. So all those are nice incremental gains in revenue. But until we have this, your car drives out by itself, makes pickup and drop off of customers and come back to the house, and it becomes a source of revenue, that's where this thing becomes superpower, super amazing. And we're really looking forward to seeing that occur for a whole bunch of reasons, as you can tell, particularly because once it happens, the stock will obviously go bananas. So, therefore, we still owe you guys a semi story that I think you'll enjoy. We will get it out of here in the next 24, 48 hours and look forward to your opinions. Um, Also, if you have any thoughts on this, if you're an expert in the field and would like to weigh in on where we are, I want to ask you to share that. There's one other technology element for Tesla that I thought was interesting. I ran into. I had a chance to meet a gentleman who is at the University of Kentucky, and he's a robot PhD. And I asked him about the new sort of walking Tesla man. And he was like, well, so I explained to him that one of the things that happens at Tesla is that, let's say you have a truck that comes in, enters the trucking bay to bring parts from other parts of Tesla. Let's say this is Fremont, California. Well, one of the things that happens is that obviously a lot those parts, et cetera, have been palletized. And so something has to go into the trucks, pull those parts out, and feed them into the production line. So this has been an issue. Tesla tried to get that done with belts a few years ago. They had to rip the belts out and go back to humans or others, so that in between trucks in and the production line. So the thing I asked him was, well, isn't that as an example of how you could use it? And his response to me was, it's possible to do robots that walk around like this, but it's far more efficient to simply use wheels on the bottom of the robot to drive between positions and move pallets, etc., because it's a lot less programming, a lot less potential errors to just have wheels there. So his point was the thing looks really cool, but for how it be used within a Tesla system, it doesn't make sense. Far better simply get the robotic arms working properly to be able to handle the pallet jacks and move things around and have wheels, that the robot moves around on. So I just thought it'd be a footnote to be aware of in terms of an expert's recommendation on this. Next, I'd like to have us move back into our health tips for the day. As you know, we have a number of tips that are down below that are recommended by different doctors. I've actually watched a friend of mine he's doing a fasting process where he starts eating at noon and he goes for his final meal, I guess, call it 8:30, 9 at night. But then he jumps in bed within 20 minutes or so, and acid reflux and other things are hitting him as a result. Don't forget, try the eat on 12, let's say eat on a 12-hour clock, leave at least 2 hours to let the food digest. Optimally 4 hours lets the food completely digest, reducing the chance of acid reflux and other cancer-related issues from bile in your stomach rolling into the upper respiratory area. So I'm adding a new segment today, and for my good friends, I wanted to get your opinion on this, and that is that I originally from Jamaica, born and raised here in the U.S., and I've been dying to have Jamaican curry chicken for the last, let's say, month or so, and I finally found that Safeway so as you can see, chicken, a bunch of seasonings and potatoes. It's like a one pot meal or a one pot cook. Fantastic. So I'm going to be making some suggestions about cooking tips that might be interesting to you on the healthier side and delicious. In the case of the curry chicken here, the beautiful thing about it is unbelievable flavor, only about 20 minutes of cooking time. And I have this thing in my brain when I was a freshman in college, when I got back to the dorm or got back to school a little bit early, I ended up crashing out with some football players, and none of them knew how to cook. So as a result, they didn't know how to cook eggs. So what they would do is go to the store every other day and buy two or three um, things of eggs, and then they would have eggs twice a day, filling up the whole pot with eggs because they absolutely knew how to make it and that it would taste good. And the cholesterol obviously would have been horrible, but I just thought it was interesting that there are some folks like the guys that are not as good cooks. And one of the simple ways is there's something called Grace Jamaican curry. And you could, at a very simple basis, just get some chicken breast, get some curry, mix, cut the chicken breast in small pieces, and then just mix the curry in and throw some oil in the pan and have a party. Let it cook there. As you just saw, I have small red potatoes in mine. And the reason is that it's really fun to have one pot meals so that everything cooks. And then when you're ready to eat, if you want to warm it up, you don't have to go through, having rice over here and everything else split up. You can get it all done in one shot. So this is what we've done in this case. At any rate, wanted to thank you once again for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Juste au revoir, la hit robotaxis, that's Jamie Hama, arrivederci. In Jamaica, we say enough respect, walk good man. Namaste. Thanks once again for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. That's the question. Will everyone get rich? Because full FSD is coming on August 8th. The answer is maybe. And if it does happen, there are going to be some very rich and happy Tesla owners like yourself. At any rate, have a great day for now. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to your like, subscribe, and comment. Have a great day. Bye.